The Andrews family have created a self-contained business with a strong emphasis on sustainability and circular economics. They run a farm, a micro-abattoir and sell meat from their own Holy Cow shops in Cambridge and Hamilton, where products such as skin cream, candles and soap made from tallow are also sold.
We've got a couple of hundred hectares. It's all sheep and beef. I try and keep it pretty low and low intensity or anything like that. We've got to finish cattle all year round. It's because we're harvesting it every week. So you've got to keep them growing all the time. And we get them in at sort of a yearling, sometimes a little bit more, a little bit less, and grow them right throughout, so they're always growing. All more or less Angus, which I get from a couple of closed herds up East Cape and far north. During winter you can do more animals because you sell the whole animal, but during summer some of the cuts are lesser desired, you know. So we just get a little bit extra steak here and there just to help balance it up. It's good now that I've got one of our sons that's actually taken over a lot of responsibility in the shop, or the day-to-day running of it, in one of the shops, and we've got a really good manager in the other shops. We've got the two shops, Cambridge and Hamilton. So that's taken a load off, and now I just mainly focus on the farm, the abattoir, and delivering the stuff around the shops, and just making sure everyone's happy in there, and keeping the supply coming in for them and all that. We've been doing it for a few years now, so you sort of know each week what you want to do. And we always try and have a stockpile of stuff because we even aging the lamb, we hang the lamb for a minimum of a week as well. So there's always a chiller full of it. I was originally a roading contractor. Got out of school about 14 and went straight onto the roads and done that for quite a few years, and that was pretty hard yakka. I was sort of accumulating little blocks of land everywhere, and then we ended up out at Raglan, right on the harbour there, and where I was working with the roading. I said, I'll give you a couple more years and then I'm out, I'm gone. So 2 years came up, that was it. So just fell back on farming as I was sort of doing in a lot smaller scale, and all my mates and all that were coming up saying, geez, you know, can we get some meat off you? I said, yeah, well, yeah, but then you're not allowed to do that, you know, if you're going to sell it. So yeah, just got into processing it at a little abattoir in Ruakura in Hamilton, and cutting it all up and selling it at farmers markets. Started at farmers markets and just grew from there to a couple of shops and the abattoir and all that now. So all the product local is rather than export, because that's where it was all going at the time. We just kept it all in New Zealand and in our own little local areas. That's all we were really focused on is just the Hamilton and the Cambridge area.
Tom and I bought the farm, and then it was a matter of that linear process. We started where the animals were going directly for export. We had no real connection with off the farm. So came about, why don't we do it ourselves? Being independent. For future generations, it's all about caring for the farm predominantly and for our children. And the whole idea of getting rid of plastic out of our industry, the meat industry is quite full of packaging. We now produce our own tallow bags from paper bags because there's nothing sort of currently on the market to replace the plastic bags. People say wrap, but then we don't have the space, and people are time kind of poor, so they want the ease of things. So that was a good solution that we've come up with, and also bringing all the waste back to the farm so that we can create that circular, sustainable, and we're responsible. I like being responsible for what we do and taking care of the people and the planet generally. When you go into anything that you haven't done before, you're never quite sure of exactly what to be doing. MPI have been great support because being a whole system where we farm, we process and we sell, it's in our own best interest to do everything 100% right. And so they always check in, and I have a series of processes I have to do every, abattoir day. There's a whole myriad of things that you have to do behind the scenes. There's lots of other aspects that you don't know when you go into anything, but it's all fine once you learn it. We never expected to do what we're doing. We shifted, and unbeknown we would ever sell meat. Who would have? I would never have guessed I'd be selling meat, and now our own meat. But for being a creative person background, I love that aspect because it's looking at things and thinking, well, how can I enjoy that part of it. I don't kind of feel like it's a job. I think, oh, what can I do now? And the team knows that Carrie's always coming up with a new idea, and it mightn't be the greatest, but it's kind of a fun aspect. And so making bags, making the skin cream, all of that has become because we've got the abattoir. Yet when we did that, it was to process the meat, whereas all these little other opportunities start popping up. The skin cream is great, can't you tell? It has. I've only just started doing it end of last year, and I just had another customer come and buy another 3 tubs because it's really remarkable and quite simple. Sometimes simple is best. Only 3 ingredients. You've got your tallow, your olive oil and essential oil, and yet it's packed with nutrition.
Should I put those covers over there back on there, no? On that end?
No, actually get some of that cardboard. So for the paunch, which is the undigested grass, that is a waste product. I found an interesting man in Cromwell called Robbie Dick. So Tom and I went down and we visited him to see, and he started that with the Ashburton Abattoir. And so we looked at his commercial worm farms and bought 5 kilos of worms. And initially I rang Robbie thinking, oh no, I've killed all the worms, but I hadn't. They'd just gone deep, and now that's how we recycle all the paunch, and they turn it into soil, which I find fascinating.
Thanks, New Zealand On Air.